I'm upset, and let me tell you why. You have a witness here who's obviously, from his demeanor and from what he's saying, is not being totally truthful. He remembers something from 13 years ago, doesn't remember something from yesterday. He says he's been threatened by Mr. Beard. Why is he lying? Why is he not telling the truth? What's he holding back? Don't give him an equal as an attorney. Don't let him get up to your level, and don't go down to his level. We're talking about a conspiracy of silence for 13 years. What about a conspiracy of recent fabrication? Who got to you? Who from the prosecution took the statement that helped you recant? Who from the prosecution gave you the information about the blood alcohol in the girl's system so that you could make a statement that would conform to the reality of the situation? Who? Even if the answers are not truthful, and even if you don't get anywhere, you're playing the prosecution's own game against them. It's not a conspiracy of silence. People were silent because they didn't know. It's a conspiracy by the prosecution, for whatever their motives, to do James Beard in. And that's why I'm upset. And I'm upset at the attorney. If we had the attorney in the other case using his tactics,
Fearer, the one from
Fearer, I think Fearer would have done a much more effective job. Of course, I haven't seen the whole trial, and it's not an indictment of style by the defense attorney, but I feel that Fearer's tactic would have been much better because you're planting the seed in the attorney. You're sitting next to a guy. His life's on the line. He could go to the chair. He could face 25 years in jail. If the jury doesn't believe that you believe in his innocence, then you've lost the battle before you started, and it's a perfect witness to really
kind of hammer home on it. Okay, one of the other witnesses that you won't see at this time was Delmars, and that's Bobby Lee's brother. He again was questioned about knowing about the murders. When we talk about that conspiracy of silence, quite a number of people at least knew different pieces of this puzzle. Whether or not they were willing to talk about it obviously was something else. But as we go back in, one of the main investigators who did go around and was around in 1980 and was there on the crime scene was Sergeant Alkire. He is now under direct examination. Let's go in.
Let me ask you, Sergeant, did there come a point in time that you had occasion to speak with the defendant, Jacob Beard, concerning this matter?
Yes, sir.
Specifically in August of the year 1982, did you have occasion to speak with Mr. Beard?
Yes, sir, I did.
Up until that time, had any arrests been made?
I'm in studio with Matthew Rosenblum. We're doing the West Virginia versus Jacob Beard case. This is a case that occurred 13 years ago. Two young women were hitchhiking to a gathering, if you will, of the Rainbow family. This is an event that occurs every year when individuals come together to celebrate the spirit of the 60s. Well, they never made it, and the murder trial went unsolved for a number of years, but now it seems that there might have been a conspiracy of silence. A lot of people, local people, may have known what was going on. We're going in now to continue with the cross-examination of the Sergeant Alkire. He is one of the main investigators who was around, and we're listening to testimony being read from one of the witnesses, Bobby Lee Morrison. He testified in 1982 about what he said he saw and heard. He later recanted this, but this testimony is being read back to him again, to the sergeant, by the defense attorney, Stephen Farmer. Let's go back in.
You didn't provide him with that information, did you?
No, sir, I didn't.
He provided it to you. When we got to the Briary...
Conspiracy has taken place. Pick on Bobby Lee. The jury would much prefer that than picking on nice old officer Alkire or Detective Alkire. Obviously, some information was imparted to Bobby Lee, who then embodied in a statement. Everybody has their own styles. It's a results-oriented business. Let's see what happens.
Well, you know, also he's saying things like that Bobby Lee tells things that actually happened. The backpack was found under the laurel bush. I mean, the implication seems to be that Bobby Lee and Gerald Brown, who cannot speak for himself, was really there and the one that ought to be on trial for murder here. You said, let's make Gerald Brown let's go after him.
Well, let's blame it on the dead man.
Right.
I mean, look, there's obviously, I'm assuming the client is presumed to be innocent. Mr. Beard is presumed to be innocent. You have a dead man who certainly isn't on trial and certainly can't explain things away, who's been accused in a statement by a very unsympathetic witness of having threatened him not to tell the truth. I mean, why not pose that as one of the possible theories as to how these girls were murdered?
Well, now, could that possibly be what he's doing now with the reading this going over and over this testimony that obviously Mr. Morrison says he's recanted, but
he could be very slowly working up to it. But the point is, why not start right out and say there are other people who had motives, there are other statements that were made. This is 13 years later. They can't go after the dead man, so why not blame Mr. Beard? Nobody likes him anyway. The point is, again, where's the righteous indignation? Where's the belief in your client? It's not coming through. And on the other hand, the prosecutor doesn't seem to believe in the prosecution that much. It's the battle of the boring lawyers.
Well, maybe they're just all in keeping with what's the norm there up there in West Virginia. You know, maybe kind of laid back and
people are people. Emotion moves people. Jurors are swayed by emotional arguments. There's no emotion in this case. Again, it's results oriented, and all that matters is the final vote, guilty or not guilty.
Well, we're going to see. There's more.